So a lot of us don't have like a ton of time to go on deer hunts. And I'm no different. A lot of times whenever I go hunting somewhere, I'll run to Ohio for 2 days. I'll run down to Kentucky for 2 days. Maybe I'll even drive all the way out to Illinois for, a couple-day hunt. And I'm always prepared for those opportunities where I may have a couple of free days to get away and go on a hunt. And I keep a little Bugout kit ready to go for those type of scenarios where if I'm going to be gone for 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days at the most, I can grab this tote and I'm well prepared to tackle anything that I need on the road whenever I'm traveling, whether that be tools, shelter, food, power. It's all here, ready to go at all times. It's my Bugout kit for deer hunters. So let's go through everything that's in this kit. And let's start with like shelter, sleeping bag, and kind of what you need, the bare minimum to get by sleeping at night. I like to carry a little tent with me. This tent is by, I think it's called Eureka. It's the Suma 2. This is a really good one-person tent, like you're by yourself. You just got to throw a tent up, sleep somewhere. This is a really good option. You can always sleep in your vehicle, but if you need a tent, a lot of times you prefer a tent because you don't have room in your truck or your car. So a really small backpacking tent like this is really nice to have. This one, I slept in it, I don't know how many nights. It's about 3 pounds and 12 ounces. I've never actually weighed it to know if that's accurate or not. But with tents, the rating on them as far as people go is inaccurate. A 2-person tent is more like a 1-person tent. You can fit some of your gear in here. You can have a little bit of extra room, but it's really tough to sleep 2 people in a 2-person tent unless it's your wife or maybe a small child or something. Then you could probably get by with it. But if you're going to be on a hunt with some buddies, you really don't want to bring you a 2-person tent to have 2 people sleeping in it. This is one of my favorite tents, the Eureka. It's fairly affordable for a backpacking tent compared to all the competitors on the market. I have more expensive ones, and this one is usually my go-to. It lives in my kit here. So I also keep a sheet of Tyvek. This is like what construction workers cover homes with and whatnot. This is just big enough to fit the profile of my tent. It's perfect for just laying this down. It protects the bottom of the tent from getting holes in it and whatnot. So you can use it for all kinds of things. That lives in my kit as well. This is my sleeping pad. This is a Big Agnes Q-Core. This thing, in my opinion, I think it's the best sleeping pad that I've used. I've tried a bunch of different brands, a bunch of different models, and this one has been my favorite. It's the SLX. It's a little thicker, a little bit heavier than a lot of the other ones. You'll find that a lot of times whenever you start cutting weight down on your gear, you lose that comfort factor. And something that I've chosen to get a little heavier on is a sleeping pad. Not that this is heavy. I don't know what this weighs, but it's super light. But keeps your body insulated from the ground, and it also is thick enough and heavy enough that it's fairly comfortable compared to some of the other junk ones I've slept on. I also keep one of these little Sea Summit Aeros pillows. I'd be lying to you if I told you this is like a super comfortable pillow, but it's better than laying your head on the ground. It's just a little inflatable pillow. It does fine. I keep it in this tote. If I'm going on a backpack hunt, like elk hunting, mule deer hunting, something like that, I would keep this in my pack to use as a pillow or a pad or whatever you could use it for. But there's always a pillow in my kit. If I remember, I like to grab my pillow from my bed and use it for sure over this. Lastly, a sleeping bag. This sleeping bag is pretty old. It's a Merrimont. I don't even know I think it's a 20-degree bag. Everything's worn off on it, so I can't really tell you. But this is a synthetic bag. Kelty makes a really good sleeping bag for the money as well. I have a very high-end sleeping bag that I use when I'm going like on a backpacking hunt. This one is kind of that $100 price range. I've got all this stuff linked in the description below on Amazon, and I do have an Amazon affiliate link, so it does help me out if you guys click on that and want to buy some of this stuff. This Merrimont I've probably had for 10 years now, but if I had to buy a new one, I think I'd get that Kelty. I actually got my wife that Kelty. It's a really nice bag. This is a synthetic bag. Some benefits of this bag is synthetic versus down. The Kelty is a down bag. My high-end bag is a down bag. This can kind of get wet, and you still don't lose as much insulation factor. Whereas if you get down wet, your bag goes flat and you lose a lot of your insulation. So this is a nice one for the truck because it is synthetic, still very warm and kind of indestructible in that manner. So that lives in my kit as well. Now let's get into the tools I bring. I keep tools in my kit for obvious reasons. You never know what you're going to need. And kind of this setup I have here, I feel I can cover anything whenever I'm on the road. First thing is I keep an ASIO knife. This is an awesome hunting knife. I have a couple of them. This one lives in this toolkit. This is just a little hatchet. I believe this is actually a Harbor Freight special that I've kind of modified to fit into this bag. But the hatchet's nice for if you're gotten to cut a little small firewood, or if you need to drive some stakes into the ground for your tent. I always have a hatchet on me. You can also use it for butchering animals and whatnot if you need to break some bones. Adjustable wrench, pair of vice grips, pair of needle nose with some side cuts in them, and then a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver and flathead screwdriver. You can pretty much get anything done with that little setup right there. So that always lives in my Bugout kit. I got a small thing of first aid gear here. Inside my first aid is some fire starting devices as well. And when I say devices, I mean I have a lighter that has some Gorilla tape on it, or duct tape, and then I also have some waterproof matches that has some like kindling stuff in the head of it. So I have 2 ways to start a fire. Typically you just need this. I've never used these matches. I got some zip ties in here. I got some like water purification tablets, some Tylenol and allergy medicine. This here is some, I think it's just called Gear Aid or Tenacious Tape. Yeah, by Gear Aid. This is like a patch for your tent. It can be a patch for all kinds of different things, your clothing. I have some first aid gel in here and then some Band-Aids, nothing crazy. Another tool I forgot to mention is I keep this Corona saw in. I have a couple of these now. These are awesome. I'm looking to find the model of this thing. I'll link it down below, but it's maybe the RS7395. This is a freaking awesome camp saw. Really long blade, really sharp blade. Does really good with fairly decent sized logs. So if you need to cut you some firewood, keep that in there for those purposes. Okay, now let's get into power. I'm maybe a little unique because I film. I have to have some type of a power source to charge cameras or run a laptop. I keep this Jackery power bank with me. It's the Explorer 240. This thing is not cheap. I'll link my other one that I use. It's a small power bank by Anchor. It does really good too. If you're just going to be gone for a couple days, it'll be good enough to charge your phone. But whenever I'm charging camera gear, if I'm charging a laptop, my phone, I like to have a little more power, and this Jackery gives it to me. And then I keep this little Goal Zero solar panel charger in my kit as well. And it comes with all the different USB-C cables that you would need to recharge something like this. If you got a way of getting to the sun real well, keeping it out, maybe when you're hunting or something, and if nobody's around to steal the thing. But it's a pretty cool little device that I've had this for a couple years now. There may be something better on the market now. I haven't looked into it for a long time. But essentially, you can just set it up, somewhere where the sun's shining bright, and get some good sun exposure to those panels, and it'll charge up a power bank for you, or your phone, or whatever else you want to charge up. Food wise, I keep a handful of these Mountain House meals in my kit. These aren't special, these aren't good, but they're calories for when you're in a hurry and on the go. So this is like my cooking setup, minus the lighter that I keep in my first aid kit. I cook with this MSR, and I probably have 4 different stoves, and this one's my favorite one. This is an MSR stove. I'll link it below in the description. I can't remember the exact model of this, but it's just a little butane stove that comes with this titanium. I believe this is a titanium bowl that you can put water in and boil it. You screw this onto the fuel container and light the stove, and it boils water. You can use it to sanitize water. You can use it to cook your MSR meals. And anything else you want to use a little stove for, you can put oil in this and cook some back straps if you wanted to. So lots of different uses for this, and it kind of comes in a decent package that allows you to put it in here a little more compact. So those two things live in my kit as well. Water purification. Keep a water bottle on you at all times, a Nalgene bottle, and this is a Steripin. This is a UV light that sterilizes the water. Essentially, you can sterilize up to 1 liter of water with this. You click a button, a green light comes on, you stick the UV light in the water, you stir it around for however long the thing stays green for, and once it turns off, your water is sterile. That works pretty well. Along with the water purification tablets I keep in my first aid kit. I'm pretty well covered when it comes to that. When it comes to water, keep an extra MSR, like a bladder, in there for more water. In case I'm going to be somewhere where the water is not available, I can go fill this up somewhere, and then I have water to go. Keep a long-handled spoon for eating a Mountain House meal. This is like really nice for it's an expensive spoon, but for a guy that's eating a lot of meals out of a bag, this is nice because your knuckles and stuff don't have to go down in the bag to get to the bottom of it. You can keep your hands clean and eat. This is a cool little thing that I've had for a long time. I don't even know who makes this. Fossils. Think flat, pack flat. This is a bowl. It can be like a cutting board, and then you can actually snap it up like this. And now you got yourself a little, what is it? How big is it? 16-ounce bowl that you could use for oatmeal or soup or anything really. Then when you're done with it, you can collapse it, go wash it off in the sink or in the creek or however you want to wash your stuff, and it folds real flat and it's real packable. So we've covered tools, we've covered how to sleep, we've covered some safety stuff. We covered food. The last thing that I like to carry with me is something to take a shower with. Just I like to use scent-free soap. And then I keep a bath towel and a washcloth in my little kit here. There's nothing more refreshing and kind of to take a shower or jump in a creek and clean off. Whenever especially if you're having a rough time out there, it's a good reset to kind of reset your mind. Kind of feel like a new person, new day. Took a shower, I feel good. Now let's get after it. So I always keep this inside my tote as well, and then I'll wrap that up in a few grocery sacks. And the grocery sacks will just be for keeping dirty clothes or wet clothes or whatever the scenario would be for a grocery sack. Trash, I keep that in there too. So that stays in my kit as well. I like to keep everything in a clear, airtight container. I like it clear so I can see what's inside the tote. And since it's airtight, I don't have to worry about water getting into it and ruining some of my gear. If you like these types of videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button and give us a like. I made it real easy. This button here lets you subscribe. And if you want to watch another video, here's another video.